Welcome, Wahlberg families and guardians. This is Miss Jones, your host today, and I have another wonderful teacher with me today here at Wahlberg, Miss Morgan, a reliable fourth grade teacher who understands the importance of creating engaging, purposeful learning experiences for her students. This is to foster independent learning and spark curiosity. She incorporates theme lessons that captivate her students' imaginations while meeting curriculum objectives. Miss Morgan's theme lessons are carefully crafted to provide a cohesive and immersive learning environment. By selecting relevant and exciting themes, she creates a dynamic atmosphere that encourages students to make connections across subjects and retain knowledge more effectively. Ms. Morgan, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's jump into some questions to help parents understand what's happening in a fourth grade classroom. How do you adapt comprehension strategies and questions between third and fourth grade to match students' developing skills?
The jump from third to fourth grade is really big in reading. Students are expected to comprehend more complex text and apply foundational skills they learned in third grade. In order to prepare students for fourth grade comprehension skills, I always begin units with the skills taught the previous year. Since I have lots of experience in third grade, I'm easily able to tie those skills into our lessons and gradually morph them into fourth grade standards. For example, in third grade, students are asked to answer questions explicitly from the text and find evidence to support their answers. In fourth grade, we continue to do that and add in inferences. When learning about inference, I teach students to take their background knowledge, which is just information we store in our brains about many different topics, and apply it directly to what the text says. So we're taking those third grade skills and applying more depth to them to allow students to infer. So we begin practicing inferring with pictures, then move to Disney shorts, then to wordless picture books, and then to fourth grade level text.
I love that you're using something that they would see outside of the classroom, like the Disney shorts. A lot of the kids love watching the Disney movies. I know we do at my house. So I think that's really helping them make those connections. What are some of your favorite theme lessons or anchor charts for teaching reading comprehension concepts like theme, main idea, or character development?
My favorite themed lessons are definitely the ones that we do to go along with our novel study of the book, The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. The book, written by Kate DiCamillo, is such a beautiful story of a toy rabbit's journey through life. It lends itself so easily to comprehension skills such as character traits and motivations, character change and growth, and theme. Students are able to come up with themes for each part of Edward's journey and use the text to support their thinking. Allowing them to come up with themes on their own and interpret the text in their own way is such a great practice for critical thinking. My favorite nonfiction unit was one that I started with my student teacher last year and can't wait to do again this year. We were studying the lives of some really incredible Americans, including Martin Luther King Jr., Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and Ruby Bridges. During that unit, we held a mock Supreme Court in our classroom where students took on the roles of lawyers and justices and argued for or against some really hot-button school issues, such as should cafeterias be allowed to sell junk food? Should homework be allowed? How much screen time is too much? During this unit, students were able to tackle difficult comprehension skills like main idea, context clues for higher level vocabulary, and inferencing with nonfiction text.
I love that. Even with what you're saying, we're talking about comprehension, which is ELA, but you're tying in some science skills there with that argumentative and comprehension and using your evidence to debate something. So that's wonderful. What methods do you use to gradually release responsibility to students and foster independent reading comprehension skills?
This year, I'm really trying to run small groups in an effective way, and that began with reading assessments for each student. Being able to see where they're at with comprehension and phonics skills has allowed me to create quick mini lessons for students that cater to exactly what they need, whether it's intense phonics instruction or comprehension support or enrichment. Students are able to put into practice what they are learning in our small groups through novel studies that cater to the skills we need to practice, or a reading text that practice the phonics skills they need. Once we have practiced together, students are able to take their skills to a partner activity where they can reinforce words that match patterns we've learned. Groups that work on comprehension skills take those skills into books they're reading independently. Then we meet and conference with those texts and skills together.
That's great. What role do you see in technology and digital tools playing in supporting reading comprehension development?
I believe that technology definitely has a place in enhancing reading comprehension skills. There are some excellent programs like Freckle and Starfall that target specific phonics skills. Programs like Epic allow students access to books for free during the school day, and Dreamscapes and Prodigy that turn reading comprehension into a game. While I love that technology can support reading comprehension, I am also a huge supporter of books being in the hands of children, which is why I try to keep my classroom library current and a representation of the students' interests.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important with us having book fairs and having those newest texts in our hand, and the support from parents that we get, and PTO with having those books circulating in our library. So just a shout out of appreciation to all parents and PTO for helping with that.
Yes, for sure.
What strategies have you found effective for teaching students to support their comprehension interpretations with evidence from the text?
I love to use sticky notes in our Wonder novel study that we're currently doing. I ask a lot of questions while we read and have students respond through writing. When they find their evidence as they're reading, I have them tag it with a sticky note in their book so they don't lose it. On that sticky note, they can write down their thoughts that are supported with the evidence. When we're doing things in more of a passage practice style, I require the kids to tag each question with a paragraph number where they find their evidence. That way, when we go over their work or go over a test, we can look to see if their evidence truly matches their answers. When we're reading and discussing without any really written assessment piece, I have students respond with a because statement. For example, I asked a question about the character Jack Will in Wonder last week. I asked if the kids thought that Jack Will had changed his character since the beginning of the story. When responding, the kids said something along the lines of, I think Jack Will has changed from the beginning of the story because, and then followed up with explicit examples from the text.
You've given us some really good examples of how you are teaching students to dig through text evidence and comprehension. How can parents engage and support their children outside of the classroom?
I think one of the best ways that students can engage, or parents can engage with their kids, is by reading outside of school. Take an interest in what they're reading, whether it's graphic novels or nonfiction books or fantasy stories about dragons like the Wings of Fire series. Kids will always be more excited and engaged in what they're reading if they know that their grown-ups are interested in sharing that with them. Reading with and to your children is one of the best ways that we can ensure the literacy of our kids.
I couldn't agree more. Ms. Morgan, thank you for your time today and for bridging the gap between learning in the classroom and at home. And
Thank you
until
so much.
next time, keep growing and exploring.
Thank you.